of what we were doing on Tuesday, can someone please tell me what is my equation of a hyperbola? How do I write the equation of a hyperbola? What does it look like? Y is equal to what? Juliet, what does the equation of a hyperbola equal?
Y is equal to A over X plus Q.
Excellent. What does the A do and what does the Q do?
I forgot.
Oh no, can someone help Juliet?
Well done, Juliet, for trying.
Josie, are you coming here to save Juliet? Can you tell us what the A and the Q are?
Ma'am,
No. Yes, hi.
The Q is the asymptotes. I don't know
yes, excellent. It's our one asymptote because remember we've got two. So that's our y asymptote. Beautiful asymptote. Okay, and what does the A do?
I think it's shift position.
Ooh. No.
Like the position or shift.
So the shift is our asymptotes. That's our Q. Our Q is our shift. Individually, can you help us out? What does the A do?
Ma'am, isn't A the shape or position?
Okay, the shape or the position. What does that mean for us in a hyperbola? So if A is negative, what does that mean? And if A is positive, what does that mean? Oh, I've lost you. Hold on. I don't know what happened there. You should be able to unmute again.
I'm not sure, ma'am.
Okay. So if A is positive, it means it's going to be in these two quadrants over here. And if A is negative, it's going to be in those two quadrants over there. Okay. So it does tell us our shape of our position, but it's basically telling us where our hyperbola is going to be. Okay. The asymptote is this dotted line that you're seeing over here. That's our one asymptote. Okay, that's our asymptote. And then we have a second asymptote in a hyperbola. So this equation's asymptote over here would be y is equal to -4. And I would like the equation of our second asymptote that we have that is currently in this graph. It's just, thank you. Yes, beautiful. That was so quick. Our second asymptote, the reason it's not drawn in is it's because it's on our y-axis and it's when x is equal to 0. And in grade 10, it's always x is equal to 0. That one doesn't change. Okay, so the y one will change, but the x one won't change. Cool. Okay, so that's just a quick recap of that. I would like you to find the equation of this graph for me, which means I want the value of A and I want the value of Q. You have enough information to do it. Go.
Let's go for it, guys. Let's do it.
And when you've got an answer, chuck it in the chat for me.
Let's see.
See if someone can get the right answer here. I did post the leaderboard, but I know not everyone was here yet, so I will pop back up to it just now. I'm not entirely sure that I'm happy with everyone's answer in the chat. I feel like some people may have been making some signage mistakes as a little hint. Okay, I'm gonna give you one more minute and then I'm gonna go through this with you. Then Cecilia, I like part of that. There we go. Mandy, how can I help? Or are you going to give me my answer?
Ma'am, I wanted to answer.
Okay, give me my answer. How
Ma'am,
do I start?
ma'am, you write the formula first, and then you put in your 4 instead of the Q.
Good.
To
Okay, so I'm going to
represent-
put in my -4. Excellent. That's a great start. Okay, so the first thing we did was we put in our -4. Great. Where do we go to from there?
Yes, ma'am. Then you put in like your -3 equals to A over 1.
Good. So -3 is equal to A over 1 minus 4. Good.
Yes, ma'am. And then you put the 4 on the other side, shift it to the other side, and then it changes to a plus.
Good.
Yes, ma'am. And then after that, it'll equal to 1, and you times 1 times 1, that's equal to 1.
So
the
what does
whole
my equation look like? Y equals?
y equals 1 over x minus 4.
Yes. Beautiful. Well done.
MD, well
Excellent.
done.
And you explained it so nicely. Well done. Okay, so that is just a quick recap of what we did on Tuesday. And now today, what we're going to do is we are going to learn how to draw these ourselves. So the whole of Tuesday's lesson was just figuring out how to work out the equation. And our lesson today is going to be actually drawing them. Okay, so we're going to sketch some hyperbolas. Oh, that's an exponential graph. That is not a hyperbola. So hold on, let me just write you something that looks a little bit nicer. Okay, so I would like you yeah, you definitely can take a screenshot. There we go. Oh, and I said I was going to go up to the leaderboard. So let me just quickly do all of that now. So you can get your screenshot. And while we have more people here, because not everyone was here when we looked at this in the beginning, this is our leaderboard this week. So these are the people who got 100% in the quiz last week on their very first attempt. So a big well done to all of these people. We have given you a round of applause a couple of times. You just weren't here yet.
Well done.
But we are very proud of you. Okay. And remember, you can do the quizzes again if you want to. It's good practice to see how you're going. Okay. I don't think that there was a mistake on the quiz. I didn't actually ever look, but I will double check that. But I don't think that there was. Okay. We are wanting to sketch this graph. So what we've got over here is y is equal to 2 over x minus 1. Now, we're going to do this a little bit differently. Normally, when I give you something completely new, I sort of talk you through exactly how to do it. But because we have actually been talking about hyperbolas, I think that you probably know more than you think you know. And I would like you to give this a try. You don't have to have exact numbers. What I would like is like a very rough sketch of it. So for example, just draw your axes. So like there's your x and y axis, put in where your asymptote is. So let's say my asymptote was up here, and I'm going to say y is equal to 5, whatever my asymptote is. And I'm going to look at my a value, and then depending on my a value, I'm going to draw in my hyperbolas. Okay, the two different branches of it. That's not this graph. That's just if I was sketching. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just would like to see a sketch of what you think this graph is going to look like. So I'd like everyone to give that a go. And then we're going to talk about a couple of things.
Let's go, guys. It's already given us a hint. So let's do this.
You will be 100% fine, guys. So what I'd love to see is once you've got a little sketch, what you think it's going to look like. I'm going to just move. So I'm going to move so I can see all of your cameras. And if you could show me in your camera, if you have your camera on, what you think the sketch is going to look like. So try and get your whole sketch in the camera. Slimy, I think you just need to move your page back a little bit. It was a little bit too close to the camera, so I couldn't see the whole picture of your graph. So once you have an idea of what it looks like, put it into the video for me so that I can see, and we can see if anyone is actually on the right track. Oh, I'm seeing something very nice in Lee Kalen's drawing over there. I'm seeing beautiful lines. I'm seeing nice quadrants. I'm seeing some hyperbolas. If you are too embarrassed, it's also fine, guys. You don't need to panic. But if you would like to show, just show me your graph and your picture, and I can give you an idea if we're on the right track or not. Canva, okay, so I really like some of that. I really like your asymptote that you have going on. And I like that you knew which quadrants to use, but something's gone a little bit funny with your one quadrant. And we're going to talk about that. It's a very, very common mistake. So I'm glad that you made it there. If anyone else has one that they want to show me, this is your time before I move off the cameras. Okay. Cool. Some interesting ones there though. Kevin, you absolutely can show me. I just didn't see it. I thought I flipped through everyone, but I must have missed yours. Okay. Let's have a look at what this would look like. So when we're drawing hyperbolas, the first thing we want to do is we want to actually just get an idea of what it's going to look like. So we're going to sketch it. So we're just going to quickly draw our axes over here. I'm just going to, oh, hello, it's a bit skew, but it's fine. I'm just going to give you an idea. So this is, ooh, this is even how we would draw it in a test situation. We would literally start by drawing in our axes, and then we would give ourselves an idea of what it looks like by drawing ourselves a little sketch. Okay, so now our first step, the first thing we want to do is we want to deal with the fact that we have an asymptote of -1. That is our very first thing that we want to do. Okay, so we are going to draw in that asymptote, and we're going to draw it in with a dotted line. So I'm going to draw it in over here. That is my asymptote. You must all please use a ruler. Make sure it's a nice straight line, not like my crazy wonky line that you're seeing over here. And once we've drawn in that asymptote, you need to label it. So we're going to say that is when y is equal to -1. Okay, so that's the first thing we do is we draw in our asymptote. Draw asymptote. Okay. Second thing we need to do is we need to label our second asymptote. Even though we don't draw it in, we need to label it. So we need to say x is equal to 0. Okay. Next step is we think about our a value. Now, our a value tells us which quadrants it is lying in. So we know because a is positive, we know it's going to lie in this quadrant and this quadrant over here. Okay. But the problem is that because our asymptote has moved down, it's not actually in this quadrant up here like this. It goes all the way down to where our asymptote is. So basically our asymptotes create a new set of axes. You can think of it like that. So this is like our new x-axis, and that is our new y-axis, and that determines the quadrants that we are in. Oh, good, Canva, I'm glad. Okay, but it's a very normal mistake. And so then our other branch of our hyperbola is going to go over there because it's going to be in opposite quadrants. Okay. We need to put arrows on the ends of our arms of our hyperbolas. So we've got that in. Now that we're at this point over here, where we've got a asymptote, we've labeled things, we've drawn our two arms, we can see that there's something that we need to find. What is the something that we need to find in order to get all of our marks? Who thinks that they can see what we need to find? Okay, so in our brains, we always think we need to have our x and y intercept, but if we have a look here, there's no y-intercept because our y-axis is an asymptote. It's never going to cross that line. So we don't have a y-intercept, but we do have an x-intercept. Okay, and if we have an intercept, we need to find its values. We need to find its coordinates. When we're looking for an x-intercept coordinates, what does our y value equal? Yes, good, Tiamo. Our y value equals 0. Okay, so all we do is we plug that into our formula. We say 0 is equal to 2 over x minus 1. And now we solve for x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my 1 over, and I'm left with 2 over x. I'm going to multiply my x up. So I have 1x is equal to 2, which is the same as saying that x is equal to 2. And so my coordinates are 2 and 0. And that is our entire hyperbola. There's nothing more fancy we have to do. That's it. When you are marked for this, you get marks for having the correct asymptotes, for having both of your asymptotes there. You'll get a mark for your shape. The shape means that it's in the right quadrant and it's not touching either of our asymptotes. You would get a mark for your coordinates. So you may get 4 marks here if they were being kind to you, but sometimes these ones will just be out of 3 because it's not really a huge amount of work. Okay, so that was our very first hyperbola. Let's get ready with our next one. I feel like I've put exponentials for all of these. I have. My God, I'm an idiot. Clearly the week has gotten to me, guys. Okay, so this is, we're going to say negative 9 over x, and we're going to say plus 3. I would love for you to draw me this hyperbola. Let's see how it goes. Everyone,
everybody.
please draw this hyperbola for me. Did I? As the head of this whole lesson.
Well, I didn't see that.
Oh, do you mean on the website?
That's still coming.
So we are going to do exponentials, but we're going to do exponentials tomorrow. Yeah, if anyone would like to take a screenshot, you're welcome to over there. I think I said tomorrow, but I meant to say next week.
Yeah.
Did I say tomorrow?
Tuesday, yes.
Guys, I've lost it. I've completely lost it. What is wrong with me today?
Tuesday, guys.
I've gone crazy. I don't see you tomorrow. Next week, Tuesday, we will start exponentials. I've clearly lost my mind. No, that's what's happening over here. But some of you I will see on Saturday for our Saturday workshop, where we're going to also be doing some more functions, but some tricky functions, and we're going to do some trick. I did have a long day. I did. Okay, so draw this for me. Beautiful. I like that, Grace. Yes, Mkelo. So the exam prep workshop was the 14th and the 21st. So last week Saturday was the first session, and this week Saturday is the second session. And if you're coming, don't forget to have done the questions before you get there. Am I going to post an exercise? So you should have received all of the questions, or maybe you received, I think you received them today. So all of the questions that we're doing on Saturday, and then we're going to go through them together. Okay, let me have a look. If you want to show me your pictures, you can. Canva, I like it. There's nothing I don't like about that. It's great. My only advice is don't draw it in pen. If anyone else would like to show me their graphs, you're welcome to. I'm on the cameras now. Pabalo, I just move it. Was it up and then I can't see it. Did you have it up? Just move it to the left. Slani, I know you're trying to show me, but the angle is it's just all I see is this. I can't see the graph. Okay, Lorato, that is looking okay. I really like a lot of what you've drawn, but your hyperbola arms are like very straight. They look like they're L's and they need to be curved. They need to have like a nice C shape, not like an L shape. Make it like curvy. Rangani, yes, I'm liking that. Just be careful that your line doesn't end up touching the asymptote. Chosi, I like that as well. Your arms are also looking a little bit like L's. Make sure that they're more like C's. We want them to be a little bit curvier. Grace, it's quite blurry, but from what I think I can see, I'm enjoying it. Keisha, I like it as well. Just make sure that when you're in a test situation, you're drawing it a bit bigger. Okay. These are looking great, guys. Portia, you're in the wrong quadrants. So you are in the quadrants as if A is positive, but A is negative. Halala, those are looking great. Okay, so those of you who are showing me these drawings are great, but I'm not seeing coordinates for your x-intercept. So make sure that you get those x-intercept coordinates in there. Lunelo, we have gone sideways there. We always need to be in like diagonal quadrants with each other, not next to each other. So therefore that's too much of a C now. That C has gone into like another C realm.
C realm.
Okay, Makoba, that's looking good. Just the one that's on your top left, that arm needs to be it needs to be a little bit lower. It needs to get closer to the asymptote. Georgia, can I help?
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Sorry to like interrupt the lesson, but how would I be able to get the? So I'm trying to get the x-intercept, and I took like the 3 over and made it like -3 and everything, but I don't know how to get I know the y is 0, but I don't know what the x is, and I don't know if I'm supposed to divide by 9.
I'll show you. We'll go through that together now. Okay.
Thank you.
I saw a picture just now where we had a line that was going right through the asymptote, which is no bueno, guys. It cannot go through the asymptote. Remember, the asymptotes are friend zone. It cannot. Okay, so let's quickly go through this together. But I'm seeing some great things, which is awesome. Okay, you're gonna have to excuse my graph. It's not gonna be the neatest, but I'll do my best. Okay. So first of all, one very common mistake when it comes to graphs in school is that people spend a lot of time making sure that their working out is really neat, and then they make their graph really, really little and like tiny. Don't do that. Make sure your graph is at least 1/3 of a page. Make it nice and big, okay? Make sure it's all clear. Remember, you don't get marks for your working out, you get marks for your picture. So next step is we get an idea of where our asymptote is. So our asymptote is 3, so it's going to be up here. So y is equal to 3. Then we look at our a value, and our a value is negative, which means our one arm is going to be like that, and our other arm is going to be like that, and we want to put little arrows on both of our arms. Okay, so do you see how I'm getting really close to the asymptote on both of them? Make sure you get really close to it. Then we're looking for that x-intercept over there. We're looking for that value. Okay, so we're going to make y equal to 0. We get -9 over x plus 3. The first thing I'm going to do is move my 3 over. So -3 is equal to -9 over x. Now, when we get to this point, I'm trying to isolate x. So I'm going to multiply my x up. So I'm going to get -3x is equal to -9. The friend zone, exactly, Kevin. And then I'm going to divide both by -3 so that x is equal to +3. And so this value over here is 3 and 0. Yes, Q is always going to be your asymptote, your y asymptote. Awesome, guys. I feel like we're making good progress. How do you know where to put the what, Andiswa? Oh, good, Sebo. Nice. Grace, awesome. Nice job, guys. Yes, Chaucy, I also. Okay, quick brain break. It's a very easy one today, guys. Very, very easy. You should be able to get it in no time at all. Quick brain break. Tell me what my answer is. I'm looking for this dude over here. And then we'll get back into some hyperbolas. It is 15. Yes. 15, guys. Yes. Okay. Top line. They're all 6 because 6 plus 6 is 18. Next line. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. So they're all 3. So we know that this is 3 and this is 6. Next one. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6, which means he is also 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. 18 minus 3 is 15. Nice job. Awesome. Okay. Let's just jump back in. It's going to be another exponential equation. So then we're just going to change that. But we can keep the -8. And we will say, no, we won't. We will say -2 over x minus 8. Yeah, Juliet, do you want to this one or to this part over here? Is this what you just want to take a quick screenshot? So, Andiswa, you always know where to put the asymptote depending on what this is. So if this is plus 3, then wherever 3 is on the y-axis, that's where that asymptote is going to go. Oh, and while we're up here, we actually didn't label our second asymptote, which was x is equal to 0. Mokakubale, can I help?
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and yourself?
I'm good, ma'am, but I'm very, very lost. I just tuned in, ma'am. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, sweetheart, I'm handing you over to Yolanda, and she's going to give you a helping hand, okay?
I'm here. Let's talk on the chats.
Okay. Lesedi, how can I help?
Sorry, ma'am. Hi. Ma'am, I just wanted to know, when do you know, on which side should you write the points? Like your coordinates, on which side of the graph should you write it?
Wherever it crosses the x-axis. So this
Okay,
is my x-axis over here. So wherever it crosses it, that's where we want to put the coordinates.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Cecilia, you can put your numbers on your graph, but it takes a lot of time. So I wouldn't waste time with that if you can avoid it. Kamva?
Is it possible if you go back to the question, ma'am?
Yes. There we go.
Thank you.
Sorry, Bushy. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys, I'm wanting this graph. Let's do it quick sticks. And when I say I want the graph, I want the asymptotes, I want the arms, and I want the coordinates of the x-axis, the x-intercept. I really am losing it today. Don't overthink it. Just follow the steps and you will be 100% fine. You can, Portia, just put it into the camera for me and I can see. Okay, I'm liking that a lot. That's looking good. Just be careful. Your bottom right arm looks like it's jumping over the asymptote. It looks like it's past the y-axis, which is our x equals 0 asymptote. So just be careful because that arm looks like it's crossed over the friend zone. Sorry, I'll go back to the cameras. Lisa Kanya, you are in the wrong quadrants. You're in the quadrants for if A was positive. Kamva, you're in the right quadrants. Just be careful, your arms are looking very straight. Just make them a little bit curvier. It's not the end of the world, just a little bit. Okay, Unati, you're in the right quadrants, but I'm still needing a coordinate there for the x-intercept. Lorato, your bottom right arm is too small. It's too small. If that happens, try to make your y-axis a little bit longer. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm going off the cameras. I can't be on the cameras and on the lesson at the same time, so I'm just gonna jump back to the actual lesson. Okay, let's have a look. So first things first is we want to draw in our asymptotes. We've got -8, so we're just gonna draw a nice dotted line, and we're gonna say y is equal to -8, and we're gonna put in our second asymptote of x is equal to 0. So those are our two asymptotes. Okay. And yours is obviously going to be much straighter than mine because mine is very messy. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look and we're going to see what our value for A is. And our value for A is negative, which means we are going to be in this quadrant over here. And we are going to be in this quadrant over here. Okay. That means that this is where my x-intercept is. So that is the value that I am looking for. We are going to make y equal to 0. So we have -2 over x minus 8 is equal to 0. I'm going to move that 8 over. 8 is equal to -2 over x. Multiply my x up. 8x is equal to -2. Divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which means x is equal to -1 over 4. Now we can leave it as a fraction. We don't have to make it a decimal, and we just write that exactly like that. -1 over 4. And 0. And we're done. Nice, guys. Okay, can you give me an idea of how you're finding this, either with an emoji or a number out of a number? Just give me an idea of where we're at with this. I'm hoping we're finding them nice and easy now. Awesome. Cool. Great.
Guys, remember I'm also here, so you can just direct chat with me if you want, and then I can explain some of the stuff that you're getting confused at.
Emmanuel, how can I help?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask, ma'am, when you get to the point of x will equal to -2 over 8, do you have to put it as x is equals to -1 over 4?
It is better to keep it as a simplified fraction. So if possible, always simplify it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, and then I see a question here about when we at this point, I'm just going to do it in a different color. When we at this point over here, why are we not dividing by -2? Now, the thing is, like, our instinct often tells us to divide by -2 because then we're going to have a whole number as an answer. But you always, always, always divide by the coefficient of x. So whatever number is in front of x, that's what we divide by. Okay. So in this case, we can't get rid of the fraction. Your answer could be written as -0.25, but in the graphs, it's better to keep it as a fraction. Okay. All right. I'm going to make this one a little bit tougher. So I'm going to, that's too easy. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to make it hugely tougher, just a little bit tougher. So let's do, okay, and I would like the domain and range of your function. So I would like you to draw this function, and then I would like you to do the domain and range of the function. And I wonder what else I would like. I would also like, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw the function. The second thing you're going to do is tell me the domain and range. And the third thing you're going to do is something we haven't even spoken about yet, but let's just see how it goes. I would like the equation of the line of symmetry which has a positive gradient. Let's see how this goes. Let's see. So number one, I would like the picture of our graph. Number two, I'd like the domain and range. And then I would like the equation of the line of symmetry. Let's see if anyone is able to get that for me. Yes, if you got -4, it is wrong. We haven't done midpoint theorem. We're only going to do midpoint theorem later on in the year. So your first step is you just want to draw this graph, and now we should all be pros at drawing this graph.
Sorry, Jen, the quiz is based on last week's, this week's Tuesday's work and today's work.
Yeah, so this week's work.
Okay.
But you can't like draw a graph in the quiz. So I've tried to make them sort of more descriptive questions. Don't panic. When we get to geometry, we'll make it nice and easy. Okay, so first thing we're doing is we're drawing this graph. Second thing we're doing is we're finding the range and the domain. And then the third thing we're doing is we are going to try and find the equation of the line of symmetry, which has a positive gradient. I'm going to talk about what that means. If you feel completely lost by number 3, please don't panic. We haven't spoken about it together before, so it's okay to feel completely lost about that. Okay, I'm going to start drawing this in because I'm assuming people are able to get this graph in now. So we've got our y asymptotes. Y is equal to 4 because of this guy over here. Then we know that this is going to be x is equal to 0 over here. And then we're going to draw in our graph. Our a is a positive value, so it's going to be here. and here. Okay. And then we need to find that value over there. So we're going to make y equal to 0. Which means negative 4 is equal to 6 over x. So negative 4x is equal to 6. We're going to divide both sides by negative 4, and we're going to see that x is equal to negative 3 over 2. So we're going to leave that as negative 3 over 2 and 0. Okay, just that part over there, who landed up, so let's give this marks. 1 for having x equals 0, 1 for having y equals 4, 1 for being in the correct quadrants, so both arms in the correct quadrants, and 1 for negative 3 over 2 and 0. Tell me what you got out of 4. And remember, if you're embarrassed, you don't have to send it to everyone. You can send a direct message to me. I just want to get an idea of what you got out of 4 over here. Nice job, guys. I'm thinking some of these 3s are having left out the x equals 0. It happens a lot. Awesome, guys. Nice work. Okay.
Well done, guys.
Unati, yes. How can I help?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
So, ma'am, I was wondering if you were to put the x value as a decimal and not a fraction, would we still get it wrong?
No. If you had negative 1.5, that's totally fine.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure. Yeah, forgot the x equals 0. Very normal. Don't panic. You got your quadrants wrong. No. Think about if a is positive or negative. Okay. Second thing we're doing here is we are finding the domain and the range. The domain and the range. Our domain is looking at all possible x values. So let's see. X is an element of any real number, but x cannot equal 0. Or you could have written it as negative infinity to positive infinity, but x is not allowed to equal 0. Okay. That's our domain. Yay, you got it right. Awesome. And our range is y is allowed to be any number, but y is not allowed to equal 4. Or you could write that as negative infinity to infinity, y cannot equal 4. Yeah, if you wrote 1.5, that's fine. So if you wrote this over here as a decimal as negative 1.5 and 0, that's fine. It's just where possible to leave it as a fraction is generally better. Georgia, how can I help?
Hi, Mom. Sorry
Hi.
again. Why
Fine.
can't you say that the range is 0 to 1.5?
So 0 to 1.5 is basically saying that my range is from here to here. It's saying that I can only have a graph in that little blue section that I've drawn. Because we're looking at the possible y values of this graph, and our y values are much, much longer than that. And that's like a very small space. Our y values are this whole space from all our infinities, negatives and positives. It just isn't allowed to equal this guy over here. That's the only reason. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Oh, sorry guys, my battery's about to die. I just need to relocate for a second. Okay, cool. So now let's try and deal with the last question here. The last question is looking at the axis of symmetry. Okay, so the axis of symmetry is not something we've spoken about before, but it's actually something which is quite easy and quite cool. So when we have a hyperbola, we actually have two different axes of symmetry. Now, an axis of symmetry basically means that it's a line that if I drew it, think of it like a butterfly line. If I draw that line and I bend the page over that line, it would be the same on both sides. Okay, so for example, if I had, I'm just going to shift over here for a second. if I had a hyperbola which hadn't moved at all, so it was where it was. So my asymptotes at this point are x equals 0 and y equals 0. Then my line of symmetry would be that one. That's my one with a positive gradient. That would be y is equal to, my gradient is always going to be 1. So 1x. And remember, your q value or your c value is where it goes through the y-intercept. So that's plus 0. Okay. And my negative gradient line of symmetry also is going to have a gradient of 1, but now it's negative. So it's going to be negative 1x, also plus 0. So if my hyperbola doesn't move at all, those would be my two axes of symmetry, or my two lines of symmetry. Okay, now, the only thing that's different is that it's not in those places anymore. It's moved up by 4. So now my line of symmetry looks like that, which means it's going to go through the point of our asymptote. Okay, your gradient is always going to stay 1 or negative 1. So it's still going to be y equals 1x. That's not ever going to change. The only thing that's going to change is, instead of saying plus 0, we are now going to say plus 4. So whatever your new asymptote is, that's what we're going to write over there. Okay. And if we have our negative gradient one, I didn't ask for that because I asked for the one with a positive gradient, which is what you've just done. But if I wanted a negative gradient, it would look like this. And that would be y is equal to negative 1x plus 4. Not too bad. Hopefully. Hope that made some sort of sense. We'll see.
Not bad at all.
Another fruit salad.
Guys, I'm sure we understand.
Yeah, we're seeing numbers everywhere again. I know. These happen in our lesson. Everything just starts spreading. Okay, let's try. Oh, sorry, where does the 1 come from? So this gradient, it's always going to have a gradient of 1, and this is always going to have a gradient of negative 1. That's not going to change. That gradient is going to be the same. The only thing we have to think about is this value over here, and that's always going to be what our asymptote is. Okay, let's try one more for tonight. Not this exponential. One more, and we're going to do the same things that I asked you to do there, but I think it'll go nice and quickly now because now you've seen it already. So let's do y is equal to negative 7 over x plus 14. Okay, and again, so that's the first thing I'd like you to do. The second thing I'd like you to do is find the domain and the range. And then the third thing I'd like is the equations of the axes or lines of symmetry. Okay, this will be our last one for the night. Let's see how it goes. Let's see, and then I'll give you marks for everything. So the first one will be out of 4 marks. This one's going to also be out of 4 marks, and this one is going to be out of 2. So let's see if anyone can get 10 out of 10 for this section.
Imagine 10 marks in the bag, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in your exam, that's almost 10%.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Emmanuel, how can I help?
Ma'am, I just wanted to know, for the equation of the axis of symmetry, is the gradient negative or positive?
I want both of them.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're most welcome. Oh, Grace, I'm so sorry about your data. Yes, you can leave. Just you remember, you can always watch these on the website whenever you get a chance. But I hope you have a great weekend. Nice little way too. I like those asymptotes that you got going on over there.
Let's do this, guys. I see y'all are all concentrated. Yeah, 10
I
marks is a
know.
lot.
10 marks is a lot. Trying to get all of them. You're doing great though, guys. You've done really, really well today. You've taken in a lot of information, which is awesome. Just remember, just do it step by step and then you won't be overwhelmed. Okay, I'm going to just start drawing my picture so long, just because our time is drastically running out. So I've got my asymptote in. Okay, my A value is negative, which means I'm going to have an arm over there, and I'm going to have an arm over here. Exactly, it is easier than it seems. Okay, and then over here, I'm trying to find that x-intercept. I'm just going to make y equal to 0. I'm going to bring my 14 over. I'm going to bring my x up. I'm going to divide by negative 14 on both sides, and I'm going to see that x is equal to positive a half. So that value there is a half and 0. Okay, so to mark, we've got 1 for your one asymptote, 1 for your second asymptote, 1 for being in the correct quadrants. So that's your shape mark, and then 1 for having the correct coordinates for your x-intercept. Okay, so that's out of 4 marks. For the domain and range, so this is for question 2. Okay, so our domain, we're going to say x is an element of any real number, but x is not allowed to equal 0. Or you could say from negative infinity to positive infinity, but x is not allowed to equal 0. And then for your range, we're going to say that y is an element of any real number, but y is not allowed to equal to 14. Or negative infinity to positive infinity, but y is not allowed to equal 14. We should say y over there. Okay. Marks, I would give you 1 for the first part and then 1 for the second. So basically for having either the xer or the infinity signs, and then the restriction of x not being to 0, and then the same for your y's. So that is why that's going to be 4. Okay, last one, the equations of symmetry. So we're going to have this line over here. That's going to be y is equal to 1x plus 14. And this line over here, which is going to be, just going to get rid of this for the moment, so we can see what's going on. Y is equal to negative 1x plus 14. And that is all of our answers. And that would each be 1 mark over there. And that whole thing would be out of 10 marks. Okay. Mokokubale, can I help?
Yes, ma'am. It's just that you removed your equation. I just wanted to say I did mine differently, ma'am, but I still got the same answer. So I just wanted to know, should I change it or should I keep it the same way I did it? Because it still gives me the correct answer.
No, that's fine. If you're comfortable with how you did it, that's not a problem at all.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Sure. Nice job, guys. I'm really proud of you. These marks coming in are awesome. Great. Yay, you got it. I'm so happy. Awesome. Okay, and on that wonderful note, I'm handing you guys over to Yolanda because she is going to help you get onto the quiz for the evening. And I'm going to be saying goodbye to you all, and I will see you all on Saturday. Well, not you all, but those of you who are coming on Saturday, I'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm posting the